The podcast you are about to listen to is an account of the movies which befell a group of horror fans, in particular, Tara Garwood and her intrepid friend, Matt Lolich. Had they lived very, very long lives, they could not have expected, although they would have wished, to see as much of the mad and macabre as we are to see in those movies. For them, an idyllic summer movie became a nightmare, and they loved it. The movies that they watched were to lead to the creation of one of the most terrifying podcasts in the annals of American history. The Scary Movie Project.
Hey everybody, this is the Scary Movie Project, the podcast where we talk about scary movies. I'm Tara.
Hola, I am Matt. And I wanted to let everyone know that they were warned. They are doomed. And on Friday the 13th, nothing will save them from a 24-hour nightmare of terror in Sean Cunningham's film, Friday the 13th. Yes, I know. Isn't it great?
Which actually is supposed to be not ha 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 ha.
Yeah, tell us. I know what it
is. Ma.
Harry Manfredini, the score, right? Wasn't that his thing?
Yes.
Yeah.
We will talk about why it is supposed to be that after we go through the movie.
Yes.
So there's a little teaser for you all. Because it's a spoiler.
So I think that Friday the 13th movies were the first scary movies I watched when I was a kid. I think those were the first ones, like part 3 and part 4 when I was a kid. I'm
kind of jealous of you seeing them when you were a kid. Like, yeah, the first one would be so amazing to see as a kid. It would scare the Jesus out of me.
About this movie is the fact that we'll get to what's cool about it at the end, I guess, which really
we'll get there.
We'll
get there. So this movie was directed by Sean S. Cunningham, who also produced it.
Yep.
And written by Victor Miller.
That's right.
Who had never been to summer camp.
Ooh.
And didn't like horror movies.
Well, what the heck's he doing writing this story, right?
He apparently thought that he was going to make it for writing some movie sort of like Airplane or something.
Good movie,
and
Airplane.
He ended up writing this, and this is his big movie.
Right, okay, yeah. All right, fair enough.
Side note, it also has the same makeup effects artist as Dawn of the Dead, the original 1978 one.
We can talk about Tom Savini forever.
Tom Savini, so good.
He's like a hero to many horror fans, yes.
Oh, he's a king among men, and
amazing.
He is also an actor, a director, a stuntman. He's a stuntman in this movie.
Yeah, and remember, he's Sex Machine from Dusk Till Dawn.
Right.
Great movie. Yeah, he's great.
That's right, he is. Geez.
His acting may not be the greatest in the world, but that's okay. He's entertaining, and the makeup he does is unbeatable.
Oh, he's fantastic. And we also have a connection today.
Okay.
We have a crooner connection.
All right.
Boo, boo, boo. So
I like it.
The character of Bill is played by Henry Crosby, who is the son
I've heard this.
of
okay.
the famous singer Bing Crosby.
Yes, thank you. Now that you mention that, I think I do remember hearing about this.
Love.
Good.
So
okay,
cool.
Good connection. I like it.
Yeah, and apparently they didn't even think when they were casting him, it didn't occur to them that it would be a good way to market the movie. It just didn't even occur to them.
Okay. Well.
Okay.
I guess White Christmas and Friday the 13th don't necessarily go hand in hand, but
no, not really, not so much.
Right.
Good calling out there, White Christmas.
Bing Crosby, come on now! If you know anything about him, you got to know that at least, right?
At the very least.
At the very least, that's right.
So we open at Camp Crystal Lake, 1958, with campers and counselors singing. And a POV,
aren't they singing
sweet,
like the Kumbaya and
they're singing something
David,
like
row
that.
row your boat ashore or whatever or something or.
They're singing
Right?
some kumbaya
Yeah.
type song. And we've got a POV walking through a cabin with kids sleeping. And this is where we first hear the
Yeah.
or ma 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 ma. And two of the counselors sneak off from the singing group to go make out. And they go into a barn up in the loft, and the POV follows them, climbs up the stairs. And I love that the boy is like, we weren't doing anything.
Right.
And of course, immediately he is stabbed in the chest.
Yeah.
And then we never see the girl who he's with get killed.
But
there's
shot
this like
cuts to that that freeze frame, and then it just jumps.
Yeah,
in,
it's
right?
the slow. It goes into slow mo as she's like
right,
and then it freezes, and it's so 80s.
And the smashing of the glass as the logo comes at you, right?
As the logo comes out, yeah.
I don't really understand the breaking glass thing. I don't get that, but I also think I heard Sean Cunningham say they hadn't shot like a frame of this yet. And they had made this title, and they sold it, I think, on making this title, which are okay, cool.
Yeah, that's apparently how they sold the movie, was with the name and that title shot with the breaking glass.
I can be pretty creative, but I'm not sure I could sell that. That's crazy. Wow, that's impressive.
Yeah, I don't know. That's some chutzpah right there, to be able to sell it when you haven't even written a lick of script. So then we go into the titles, like we said, and man, this score, it's so good. It's so good.
Isn't that, yeah.
It's just so good. And I learned, and I didn't realize this as I was watching the movie until I saw it somewhere online. You only hear music other than the like diegetic stuff when the killer is there.
Right.
And I didn't even notice. Like, that's how well done it is.
Yeah.
I didn't notice that there was no scoring.
That's awesome.
Under anything else except when the killer was there.
That's very cool.
So if you haven't watched this, or you're going to go watch it again, pay attention to that. It's really well done.
Yeah.
So now after the titles, we go to Friday the 13th, Present, which Present at the time was 80.
Here's what I will say, and I'm not going to give
78? Was it 78?
I'm not going to give myself away here, but the setting, and I believe it's either the setting of modern day or the release date of the movie was only 10 days after I was born. But I'm not going to divulge any more information of years or anything. I'm just going to, that's all I'm going to say about that.
Uh-oh.
So there you go.
Then I'm not going to tell anyone that I was already alive.
Anyway.
Nobody needs to know that, right?
It's all good.
This is getting cut, right?
Yes. This will never be heard again.
Because we do so much editing on our podcast. So we cut to present, quote unquote, present day when it was made.
That's right.
And there's this young girl, Annie. She's walking through a small town on her way to Camp Crystal Lake. And she stops in the diner, and they get her a ride with the truck driver.
I love the truck driver. You kids out there, heads full of rocks.
Oh yeah. And but before they get in the truck, they're walking to the truck and they see the old man.
Crazy Ralph.
Who says Crazy Ralph, which we don't know who he is yet, but he's Crazy Ralph.
It's got a death curse.
Going to clamp blood, are you?
Yes.
Got a death curse.
It's got a death curse.
It's got a death curse. So good.
And he just hops on his bike and just cruises away. I love Crazy Ralph.
So they get in the truck, and they're driving, and she's telling the driver all about, she's going to be cooking for the campers, and he tells her she should quit the job. There've been a bunch of deaths up there. And I love it. He's telling her to quit. She says, you're an American original.
Yes.
He says, dumb kid. Yeah. And she says, at least I'm not afraid of ghosts.
Yeah, right? Dumb kids. Heads full of rocks. Yep. I mean, that's some Oscar worthy, stuff right there.
Oh yeah, it's good stuff. And so I also learned they apparently they never filmed together because the in the truck at least, because the camera had to be in his spot or her spot. Each, so that whole scene, they never acted with each other.
Sure. Yeah. Okay. That makes sense then. Interesting.
So
that's interesting.
So he lets her off at a cemetery, by the way, at a freaking cemetery. He lets her off. Just a little like side note here.
I have interesting facts about all the places you just mentioned later, but keep going.
I don't remember the name of the cemetery, but I know it's in Hope, New Jersey.
Don't worry, we'll get to it later. I'll tell you all about it.
At least that's what the cemetery says.
Yeah, I'll tell you all about it.
So then we cut to two guys and a girl. They're driving. This is Ned, Bill, right? No, not Bill. Ned.
I'm not good with the names from
Jack.
Friday the 13th, but keep going.
Ned, Jack, and Marcy are driving to Camp Crystal Lake.
Yes.
And then they're just joking, and one of the guys is asking Marcy, "Are there going to be other girls as hot as you?" And they're just being silly.
Typical.
That's one thing about this. Like throughout this whole thing, they seem more like just kids having fun than a lot of other like horror movies nowadays.
Don't forget, I mean, this was like the first one of these. This was it.
Yeah, but I mean, nowadays, like it's not as it's not as innocent. Everybody's usually kind of an asshole. Like I don't know. There's something sweet about it.
Okay, fair enough.
So they're driving there, and then we cut to the camp director, Steve. He's chopping wood.
Steve's a hippie, isn't he? Basically,
I think he's a little rapey, but that's
other thing. That's true.
He does have that. Chopping wood with his shirt off, so it's one for the ladies, I guess. But they're fixing things up before the campers arrive, and Alice is already there helping him. And I love this line. She's an artist, and he's looking through her artwork, and he says, he sees one of him. He says, "Do I really look like this?" And she says, "You did last night." Yeah. And he keeps hitting on her, he's like 30s, and she's like 17 or 18, and I'm like, "You're so rapey. You're just so rapey."
He doesn't care.
Like it probably was like taken different back then, but nowadays I get the rapey vibe from him.
Yeah.
And so then everyone shows up, and the only person they're missing is Annie.
Yep.
Dun dun dun.
Yeah. They will be missing her forever.
Yeah. That spoilers, they'll be missing her for a really long time. So then Marcy is out working on the archery range, and Ned shoots an arrow at her. And apparently, I kept this scene in while we discuss it because Tom Savini, our man, performed the arrow shot that just barely missed her.
Is that right?
In that shot. Mm-hmm. He's the one who shot the arrow. So there's another thing he did on this movie.
Yeah, what did he do, right?
Yeah. So then Annie, we're back with Annie. She gets picked up by a driver in a Jeep. And we only ever see the driver's POV, which right away is like, uh-oh, this ain't going to be good.
Right.
We never see the driver. There's a problem. Now the car passes the road to Camp Crystal Lake. Wow, you guys.
One of those.
Good times with the words today. The car passes the road to Camp Crystal Lake, and she gets nervous. And is like, "Hey, I think we missed it." And the driver speeds up, and she just jumps out.
She as it slowly builds, she's getting scared and more worried, and she just bails. She just jumps right out.
She just bails.
I don't care if I land
out of that car.
I don't care if I land in the ocean.
She's actually, she's a pretty smart cookie. To just jump out, just be like, "Screw this! She
knows she was in danger.
I'm not going to be here."
Yeah.
So the driver chases her through the woods, which is really well paced, by the way. This chase scene. It's very well shot and paced, and it's just really well done.
Yeah.
He finally catches her.
Yes, he does.
And slits her throat.
And they do a great special effects job with that, where she just sits back by that tree, and he just
she just leans her head back,
right
and the blood just comes throat.
And that's such an easy trick to do, really, the way they just latex and it's like some pumps. But yeah, Tom Savini,
I don't know if you even have to have a pump there if you've got
you basically,
if you've got the blood in there,
right,
and you sever it, and then she's got her head down, and when she leans it back, it opens the gate and the gap, and just whap.
Think of basically a ketchup packet that you slice, and that's pretty much what it's doing.
Yeah, exactly. Like I don't even know if they needed a pump for that shot. They might have used one. I don't know.
They may not have, yeah.
But you might not have even needed it. So then we cut to the kids all swimming and generally just being silly.
That's a great transition to it. Don't they have some really cool, nicely done transition that you would think would be cheesy, but it's like a flash transition that goes from her getting killed to the camp. It's such like a juxtaposition of this poor girl's getting murdered, but now we jump to counselors
and they're
having
all like
fun.
Laughing and they're all having fun
that's
and
well
like
done.
And like teasing each other and being goops. And so one of the guys, Ned, gets in trouble out in the middle of the lake.
Yes.
And I love it. One of the girls goes for him first.
Yeah.
Goes to save him.
When he pretends.
And I don't know if it was Marcy or Brenda. I think it might have been Brenda. Gives him mouth to mouth.
And then
he starts kissing her. Right.
Exactly. Classic old I'm drowning. I mean, hey, how well did that work in The Sandlot? Remember that, everybody? Oh yeah. When Squints goes in and he pretends he's drowning, so Wendy Peppercorn will save him. I'm just saying. I know I'm changing movies here. But, yeah, that's the classic I'm drowning. No, I'm really not drowning. But, yeah, that's a great scene. That's when you first get an idea of kind of like the antics or whatever you want to say they're up to, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, and they're being teenagers.
Yeah, it's all good. Right.
They're being funny, they're being flirty.
Right.
They're just messing around.
Right.
So then we cut to Alice, and she's in a cabin changing because they've all gotten wet from Ned's prank. And a snake scares her.
Oh, the snake, that's right.
And she calls Bill to come and kill it. And so he comes in, and then everyone comes in, and they're all like, wait, what are we at? He says, and it goes under the bed. He says, well, I can't get it till it comes out. And she says, well, call him. And he says, how do you call a snake? And that whole scene was not originally in the script.
Just improv stuff.
It was an idea that Tom Savini had after he had something happen in his own cabin while they were filming, because he was actually staying on set. He and a couple other people stayed in the cabins during filming the whole like month they filmed there.
Very cool.
And the sad part is the snake was real. And they didn't really kill it.
They killed it.
So that makes me sad.
Well, you know what? The snake died for a good reason, to make a good movie.
Even a snake though deserves to live its life.
I know. It's all right. We'll move on.
A moment of silence for the snake. Okay, moving on. Moving on. So cop shows up. And he thinks they're all high, and he's got all these funny words.
This scene is so great. What are you on, man? Grass, something gold, or you whacked out on the something? And he's like, smoke? Nope, no smoke. And the one dude's dressed up.
Smoke.
The one dude's dressed up like looking like some stereotypical, stupid Indian outfit.
Oh yeah, dressed up in the goofy Indian outfit, trying to be all serious.
That guy's funny. Like he does like all those impressions and
I think it's like Ned who's dressed up like that. He's the goofball.
But this cop, he's such a weird ass dude. And what are you doing, man? You high on grab? And don't touch the bike, man. And then the guy called the chief, squad, whatever, come back, blah blah. And he goes, gotta go. And the chief calls, and he turns around and he almost wipes out, and then somehow drives away. I mean, that scene was so random.
But he's looking for a crazy guy from town.
He is
Ralph.
That's right, Crazy Ralph.
So you got to get that part in. He's looking for Ralph, Ralph.
He is. Yes. I just love that he's just hilarious. That's all.
So then Alice is cleaning the kitchen, and the old man who had talked to Annie, the first girl who gets killed,
out in the kitchen,
comes out of the pantry.
Yes, he's just hiding in there.
She opens the door and he's in the pantry. It's Crazy Ralph.
Disturbing. And
he tells them they're all doomed if they stay, and he acts all crazy, and they kind of shoo him off, and he gets on his bicycle and rides away again.
Does.
So So we cut to, they're making dinner, right? And it's starting to get dark and the light bulb in the kitchen won't turn on. So they go to turn on the generator. Basically just setting up the generator for the third act. Like, right. This is the generator from Act 1, which will reappear in Act 3. And then, Jack and Brenda are out, like, walking across the log, the balance log there, and Ned is, like, watching, and Jack kisses, or no, it's not Brenda he kisses. I think it's Marcy. Sorry. I get Brenda and Marcy confused.
Is this where he starts talking about the thunderstorm that's coming, and he sounds like a wannabe meteorologist?
Shortly after this. So first Ned sees them kissing and he's like, he seems sad and he walks away. And then he sees someone on a cabin porch and he follows them inside.
Right.
And that's like the last we see of him. And then Jack is like, he and Marcy are walking past and Jack calls out for him, but he doesn't answer. And they sit for a few minutes. Yeah. And this is where it's like looking like rain. And Marcy's telling Jack about her dream of the rain falling that turns into blood.
Oh yeah.
That she has a nightmare about that. And then they're like, oh, it's really going to start raining now. So they run for shelter and they run into that cabin, the same cabin that Ned had gone into.
Yep.
And it's dark now because it's raining and it's getting dark.
Did we mention, by the way, who the most famous person in this movie is? Have we
oh my God,
that?
We haven't mentioned it yet. Okay, Jack, you guys, by the way. Jack.
Who is our actor?
Who just ran inside with Marcy. Or Brenda. I can't tell them apart.
Whatever, yep.
Is Kevin Bacon.
It sure is. This is 1980. I don't know how many movies he had done. Not many, right?
No, this was actually like, I think his first big like role.
Maybe, yeah. If not, couldn't be more than his second or third. He had not done. Wait, when did Animal House get released?
After this, I think.
Okay, because he was in that. So I thought that was before that. I'm sorry if I'm. But yeah, anyway, this is one of his first movies. Yeah.
Yep. Oh, we're both gonna have trouble with this, aren't we? It was after. No, you're right. Animal House was a couple years before.
Okay, so there you go. So yeah, he hadn't done much. He was certainly not the known person that he is now.
But Footloose was a few years after.
Yes.
Which I think was when he really took off.
Yep. Players 60. What is it? The game, the 6 Degrees of Kevin Bacon or whatever.
So we can play that game if you want to play that game. I can play that game.
No,
I have 0 Degrees of Kevin Bacon because I was in a movie that he was in.
Ooh, okay.
How about that?
There you go. I like it.
I was not in a scene with him. I never met him, but I did meet Renee Zellweger.
That's pretty cool.
It was, what was the name? Oh, it was called My One and Only.
I don't
Not
know.
a very well-known movie.
Okay.
But I had like one line in it. I think I said,
well, for everyone,
I asked for toast.
That's like George from Seinfeld, where these pretzels are making me thirsty.
Yeah. Renee Zellweger's my waiter. She brings me bread, and I say, I asked for toast.
Bitch, I want some toast. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you know what?
Yeah, basically just like that. That's exactly how I did it.
Here is your moment to beef it up and to tell people to watch the movie and make yourself famous.
Yeah, sure. Watch my like 4 words or whatever.
Okay.
So
Kevin Bacon. Yes.
So Kevin Bacon, I mean Jack and Marcy go into the cabin that Ned had gone into. And Jack lights a candle and they start making out on the bed. And then we cut back to Alice, Brenda, and Bill, who are in the main cabin, and they decide to play strip Monopoly.
Yes, they
smoke up.
Yes,
and smoke up.
Yes, they do that too.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
The marijuana, right? Yeah.
The marijuana.
Marijuana.
As the kids are calling it, the pot.
You've been taking the
weed.
Pot. Yes.
The weed.
I hear you've been taking the pot, as they say.
The pot.
Yes.
Yes. The devil's leaf.
Yeah.
Or something like that.
I don't know that I've heard
like
that one.
I don't know.
I'll go with it. Yeah. Okay.
There's something. I don't know. Anyways, cut back to Jack and Marcy. They are now full on doing it.
Yes.
Which apparently Kevin Bacon shaved his armpits for that scene.
Okay. Odd.
Not sure why, but apparently he did. There you go.
Whatever works for you.
Here's your trivia, guys.
All right.
Kevin Bacon shaves his armpits, at least for bedroom scenes.
At least for this, yes.
And they're doing it, and we get this pedestal up to Ned, dead in the top bunk.
I know, great, right?
Yeah, so good.
Yeah, that is great.
And he's just like blah in the top bunk.
He's so dead.
He's so dead, you guys. He's so dead.
Yeah, pretty much.
So then after they are cuddling for a few minutes, Marcy decides she needs to go visit the latrine.
Yes, the latrine.
And she traipses off. She puts on her raincoat and goes out because it's a whole separate building that she has to go to. And Jack is laying there and some blood drips on his face. And then a knife comes out of his throat. Or I think it's an arrow. Okay. So an arrow just comes blunt out of his throat. And okay, do you know how they did this?
I do, and I'll be happy to tell it unless you want to.
So first, I'll tell the first part. You tell the rest.
Okay.
How about that? So first, because it's his death scene and they had to have the arrow come through from under the bed, he had to crouch under the bed and stick his head through a hole in the mattress.
Right.
And they had a latex neck and chest appliance for him so that it would look like he was laying down. And it took hours to get the setup all right. And he just had to stay there like that the whole time.
Crouching like a catcher in baseball, basically. It's so uncomfortable, right?
Okay, so do you want to tell the rest?
So the other part that I understand of it then, he's crouched down. There's a fake body they've made, obviously, for him on the bed. And when they got him with the arrow, there's supposed to be just a regular blood tube that came out, but I guess it got stuck or something. So either Tom Savini or somebody went in with the tube underneath, blew into it, and that's why it made this giant gurgle of blood that just explodes.
It bubbles out.
Yes. So that's what you call a happy accident, I think. I thought it was great.
Yeah, because it was originally supposed to just seep out, and instead it's blood out.
Right. So that was a great scene. I love that scene.
Oh, that was so good. And it's just so shocking when the first time you see it.
Yeah, and even when I watch it now, it doesn't look phony. I mean, the makeup it's pretty well done.
No, the makeup's really well done. Guys, Tom Savini is the man. He has his shit together. He does a really good job at this. So we cut back to Marcy in the latrine, and she hears someone coming in. She thinks while she's in a stall, but no one seems to be there. So she goes in the mirror and she quotes the movie to herself, and she's just being silly. She's like, "You'll never be pretty, Lizzie. I would look in the mirror and say to myself, you'll always be plain."
Is that Sunset Boulevard?
No.
Okay, I still don't know what that's from.
That is Katharine Hepburn.
Okay.
From The Rainmaker.
Okay, yeah. I just assumed it was Sunset Boulevard for some reason. I don't know. I
looked it up. I didn't know what movie it was from, but I knew it was Katharine Hepburn.
Okay.
Immediately, I was like, "Oh, that's her. She's doing Katharine Hepburn."
That's good.
Because I love Katharine Hepburn, but I haven't seen that movie. So now it's on my list.
Yeah, now I know.
Now it is. So she's just being silly, quoting things in the mirror. And then she hears something again. And she goes to look in the showers. And this is such a good, building of tension too, where she pulls the one shower curtain aside, nothing's there.
Nothing.
Pulls another shower curtain aside, nothing's there. Pulls another one aside, nothing's there, but we see the shadow of a hatchet rise up behind her.
Great.
And she turns around, just whack, she gets
axed. Axe in the face. I love it.
Axe in the face. But we don't really see it.
Happen.
We don't see the whole, her face getting split with the axe or anything. But so back in the main cabin. Now we're back in the main cabin.
No, you don't see it happening, but you see then her afterwards with that.
You see her after, yeah. But we don't see the moment.
Right.
We don't see the moment.
You don't need to. You know what though? You don't need to see it. That is when it turns and he sees her with that thing in her face. There's like the list that people always talk about of the great kills in the whole Friday the 13th franchise. I have my favorite I can mention later. But this one in the first movie is one of my favorites.
It's a good
axe
one.
in the face. Oh.
I like the Jack one.
It's good. It's very good. Yep.
Actually, I like the boy deaths. I like the guys getting killed. I like their deaths. I'm not trying to be sexist, but I like their deaths.
Okay. That's okay.
But I like their deaths.
That's all right.
So back in the main cabin where they were playing strip poker.
Yes.
Brenda decides she's going to go to bed. So she leaves the main cabin. So now it's just Bill and Alice in the main cabin. And then we cut back to the diner in town, and Steve is finishing up there, and he's getting ready to head back to Camp Crystal Lake, and it's pouring rain. Yeah. And it's just basically like, so hey, he didn't disappear from the whole movie. He's
he's still around.
He's still around.
Oh yeah, this guy. All right.
Oh yeah, this guy's still around. Rapey Steve is still out there. Rapey Steve is still out there.
He'd be a cartoon character.
Rapey Steve.
Hey, you know what show he would be on?
What?
South Park.
Oh God, he totally would. He would be a South Park character.
Yes, he would. That would be their character, Rapey Steve.
Yep. Guys, they killed Rapey Steve.
Right.
Except they don't. They don't. But anyways, so actually no, they do. They do kill Rapey Steve. That's right.
Well, we'll get to that.
Yeah, not yet. So Brenda heads to the latrine to like brush her teeth and get ready for bed. And she never even looks in the shower area. She just brushes her teeth and like leaves. And then of course later we see her in her cabin and there's a sink in her cabin. And I'm like, why didn't she just brush her teeth in her cabin?
Right.
But whatever. It's much more dramatic for her to go into the latrine.
People. Yes.
For her to go into the latrine. My husband watched it with me and he said, well, maybe the water is better in the latrine.
Hey, could be.
It's like, maybe it's better water there. Maybe the sink there doesn't work. So there are many reasons she could have chosen not to use that sink.
You might be the only person questioning it, but that's okay.
I might be. I might be the only person who noticed it ever in the whole 30 years it's been out.
You can email Paramount Pictures, who owns it, I think, and tell them.
Yes, I should tell them that they need to like crop that shot in tighter so we don't see the sink there. It just ruins the whole movie.
Yeah, this movie is terrible.
Whole movie. Plot holes a mile wide. And so we're back with Steve. His Jeep breaks down. He's leaving, his Jeep breaks down, and a cop picks him up.
Right.
Another cop. And so again, we cut back to Brenda, and she's in her cabin reading a book, and she hears this little voice call out, "Help me."
And it's kind of scary, isn't it, though?
It's kind of a creepy voice because
it
does not sound like an actual kid.
Yeah, I thought it was.
It sounds weird.
Right.
It sounds weird and not right.
Right. Yeah,
and
you're right.
So she gets a flashlight. She goes outside to find whoever it is. And I love the shots where her flashlight like arcs through the rain.
Mm-hmm.
And so like everything is obscured except what little bit you can see in the flashlight, but it's towards the camera. So it's mostly you're just seeing rain and like her silhouette in the rain. It's really cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
Another thing they do a lot of that I love is the shots through windows. Like when you're seeing someone inside a cabin and you're seeing them doing something through the window and then you cut to them doing it in the cabin. It's just really good. It's good filmmaking.
Subtle little things. Yep.
It's just good filmmaking, guys.
Just
good filmmaking here.
Good.
So she's out there looking for whoever it is. And suddenly all the lights come on. She's on the archery range and just all the bright lights come on
Boom.
And blind her.
Yes. And
we hear her scream as the camera cuts away.
And you know it. You pretty much know what happened to her at that point.
Oh, yeah. You're like, oh, she's gone. There's another one.
She's most likely not alive anymore.
No. Another one bites the dust.
Basically.
Dun,
Yeah, that scene was cool. I like that.
So, yeah. So the camera cuts away as we hear her scream. And we're back to Alice in the main cabin. Mm-hmm. And Bill has gone out to check the generator. He comes back in. And they both go out to look for Brenda because Alice thinks that she heard her scream.
Well, Alice is, she's starting to know something's not right. She's not feeling too good about this whole thing.
Yeah, she's like, I heard Brenda scream.
Right.
Like, she's like, I heard her screaming. Like, we need to go figure out what's going on. So they go back out in the rain. They go back out in the rain. They gear up with their raincoats. They go out there. And they go into Brenda's cabin, and there's a bloody axe in her bed. Under a sheet, too. Like, they had to under the sheet, like tucked in. You got to pull the tucked sheet in nice and cozy. Yeah.
That's what I do with my axes. I just usually, lay them to bed and tuck them off to sleep. Right.
Yeah, I mean, really all of our tools take turns in bed.
Yes, of course. Who doesn't?
They get tucked in, they get sung lullabies. It's just the way that you deal with deadly tools like that.
You got to take care of your equipment.
Got to take care of your equipment for sure. Everyone in film knows that.
That's right.
Or in the military or in the murdering business. Got to take care of your
big business.
Take care of your equipment.
Big murder business.
So they go into Jack's cabin and it's empty. And they're like, where is everybody? They go to the latrine. They don't find Marcy in the latrine.
Nope.
So they can't find anybody. And they decide, all right, we got to call someone to come out here. So they go to the office and they have to break in. And then the phone is dead in the office.
Yeah,
so they go to the pay phone out in the front room. That's dead.
Yeah, that's right.
They go to the truck. Dead. The truck won't start.
Nope.
So they're basically just stuck there until tomorrow.
Yeah, pretty much. And she's like, I'm walking out of here. And I think he tells her it's like 5 miles or something to like the.
Yeah, he's like, we can't. Like,
we're
we
not
just
anywhere near the roads. Yeah.
We just have to stay here. Like, it's I want to say it's 12 miles to the nearest town.
Right. You got to ride it out.
Yeah. So they're gonna ride it out. So
they don't want to.
Then we're back with Steve in the cop car. And the cop's telling Steve, oh, it's Friday the 13th and it's the full moon.
Yep.
We get more of everything.
On the full moon.
More car accidents, more this, more that, more homicides, more everything.
You know what? And the one thing I just want to say, I hear that a lot, but I think that's actually not true.
I don't know if it's true or not.
People say on full moon,
I have no idea.
People act crazier. They say that. I've heard a lot of people say it, but then I've also heard just the same amount of reading that says that it's not true. So it's kind of, I don't know if it's an old wives' tale or not, but if it is untrue, it's a very popular untrue story. So
maybe I think it may be connected to the feeling that women get crazy when they are in their moon cycle.
When their friend is visiting? Yeah, I don't know.
Yes.
I mean, it's
I'm trying to be.
Yeah.
I'm trying to be.
That's usually my word for it, but
polite about it when they're in their moon cycle.
You know, that's the same thing. It's like, yeah, you hear all these things, but is it actually true? So I don't know.
Anyways, we'll get to women and moon cycles in our next episode.
Yeah, we'll get there. Patience.
So the cop gets a call. And he has to let Steve out to walk the rest of the way to Camp Crystal Lake.
And it kind of stopped raining at this point, didn't it?
Yeah, it's pretty much stopped raining at this point. And Steve is like walking back to Camp Crystal Lake the rest of the way. And someone shines a flashlight in his face. And he says, oh, hi, what are you doing out in this mess?
Right.
And we cut away. And so at that moment, you're like, oh, well, he's dead too now. Like, obviously, we cut away from him.
Yeah.
We cut away from him and we didn't show the person he was talking to, so he's dead.
Whoever kills him does something, because don't we also quickly see like his eyes bug out and he has like a quick reaction, like he got stabbed or something before we cut? Doesn't that happen?
I think he looks surprised.
Okay, all right.
So I don't know if it's that he's being, maybe he is.
Okay. Anyway, yeah, but as the viewer, either way, something bad happened.
Yeah, you know, oh, he's gone too. So we cut back to Bill lighting a couple lanterns, going to check the generator because he thinks it ran out of gas.
Right.
Because it's all dark now, and so he goes out there. He's messing with the generator, and Alice stays in the main cabin to try and get some sleep. So later on, she wakes up and she goes to the kitchen area to make some coffee. And then she goes outside to find Bill, and he's not in the generator room, but his poncho or whatever, his rain poncho, is on the floor in there. So she starts to leave, and she closes the door to the generator room, and he's on the back of the door.
Yes, he sure is.
This is the one I didn't want to say when we were talking about favorite murders. I love this murder.
Okay.
I love him just dangling from the door with
I know.
the arrows.
It's great. I know.
It's so great. This and the and Jack getting it through the throat are my favorite murders in this. They're the best ones, I think.
Go to YouTube, everyone, and Google all Friday the 13th deaths.
Oh, geez.
What I usually do is I find one of those and I email those to people on Friday the 13th, and I wish them happy Friday the 13th.
Nice.
Yes.
Nice.
It's just a good citizen thing of me to do.
It's really a service.
It is. It really is. I don't ask for money. I don't ask for anything for it.
Yeah, it's public service. You're a good guy.
I just do
That's why you do it.
That is. Yep.
So Alice screams and she runs back to the main cabin, and she locks the door and barricades it. And that's I'm like, yes, girl. Like, she locks the door, girl. And she immediately she throws a rope over the the raptor, and she's tying the rope to the door to keep it locked, and she's throwing things in front of the door. Now the only problem is she didn't look around the damn cabin to make sure no one was in there before she barricaded the door. But that's okay. At least she's being proactive.
And those almost waist level glass windows that are sitting there that someone could break through easily. But anyway.
Right. Well, she closed the curtains.
All right.
But so she goes back into the kitchen to find a weapon, and she finds a toasting fork.
Yes.
You guys, if you don't know what a toast fork is, it's the little long pitchfork thing.
It's just
I'm doing pitchfork symbols with my fingers, and you can't tell.
It's a very odd tool to find, but it's something. So I'll give her that.
You know what? She didn't know where the knives were, so she grabbed a toasting fork. That's fine. We'll give it to her.
It's something sharp.
So then Brenda comes sailing through the window, dead Brenda.
Wrapped up and tied up.
All wrapped up, all tied up.
Someone just hurls her through the window, right.
Now, this is where Tom Savini gets his stunt double credit for this movie. He is the Brenda who they throw through the window.
I think I heard that too. Yeah.
That is him getting thrown through the window.
I would like to say I was thrown through a window in a movie.
Right?
I'm cool with that.
That would be cool. So a Jeep pulls up and a Jeep pulls up, and she gets out the back out the door. She pulls everything down and she runs out the door to tell Steve what happened, because Steve had been driving a Jeep too. So she thinks it's Steve, and she's running out to tell him, and it's Mrs. Voorhees, a friend of Steve's, who tries to calm her down.
So the line, I'm sorry, I love the line. Well, I'm Mrs. Voorhees. I'm an old friend of the Christies.
I'm an old friend of the Christies.
I love that line from Pamela Voorhees.
Pamela Voorhees.
So if anybody out there is listening and her last name is Voorhees and you're having a child or a daughter,
don't name her Pamela.
No, you think you should name her Pamela.
Do? Okay.
Yes, please do. Or if your dog.
Okay, but if you're having a son, don't name him Jason.
Oh, please do. You have to. Yeah.
So she goes into the main cabin with Mrs. Voorhees, and Mrs. Voorhees sees the dead Brenda laying there, and she gets super dramatic.
Yeah.
She's like, "Oh, it's such a tragedy. This poor young girl. There was a boy who drowned here the year before the murders. It was because the counselors were having sex and they weren't paying attention.
They weren't
And
watching.
Jason was her son. And today is his birthday."
Yes.
And she says, "Oh, I couldn't let them open up this place again, could I? Not after what happened."
She goes all in. Yeah.
Pulls out her knife and just goes after Alice. And Alice whacks her to hell with the fire poker.
Yeah, they have a pretty good battle.
And she whaps her with the fire poker twice, and then she drops it and runs. And I'm like, this is where I'm like, girl, I'm glad you're defending yourself. Good on you. But keep whacking until her head is stoved in.
Pretty much.
Do not leave any room for doubt, okay?
Right.
We saw this in Halloween too. Do not let anything deter you.
Every scary movie. But anyway, yeah.
Kill the monster until it's dead, okay?
And then when it's dead, kill it some more.
So she whacks her with a fire poker and she runs away, and she keeps running into dead counselors as she's running away.
Yes. Great.
And Mrs. Voorhees does her Jason impression. Kill her, Mommy.
Kill her, Mommy.
Don't let her get away.
Kill her.
Don't let her live.
Yeah. It's great. She's just talking.
Yeah,
she's clearly
kill
not.
Kill her, Mommy. Kill her.
She clearly ain't quite right.
I will, Jason. Don't worry. I will.
She ain't quite right, as they say.
Oh, yeah. No, she is not okay.
No.
So Alice makes it back to the office, and she gets their little, like, as my husband calls it, their chipmunk rifle.
Okay.
But she can't shoot Mrs. Voorhees. Like, I don't know why. She gets the rifle. She doesn't shoot her. Mm-hmm. What is she doing? So Mrs. Voorhees throws the rifle aside, and she just literally starts bitch slapping Alice.
Sure does.
Whap.
Yeah.
Whap. I mean, she is just smacking her around.
Going at it.
Which apparently Betsy Palmer, who played Mrs. Voorhees, after working on stage for years, she was used to really using a cupped hand and hitting her co-stars along the jawline, which I have actually done in theater too. Because on theater, you can't like cut away, you can't cheat with camera angles. So you have to actually connect with the person unless you're doing like really certain staging. So they had to explain to her that like, no, like you can fake it.
Yeah.
We're going to cheat it with the camera angles. You don't have to actually hit her.
But it's more fun to hit people, of course.
But it's more fun that way.
That's
yes.
right.
I used to do stage combat. It's always more fun when you get to make contact than when you whiff. Purposely whiff. I mean, not accidentally. We purposely would whiff. You don't want to make contact with swords or anything. Like you have to do fancy staging for that. But anyways, she starts smacking the shit out of Alice. Alice fights back and runs away again. And she goes back to the main cabin and she hides in the pantry, the same pantry that Crazy Ralph was in.
It's called a death curse.
It's called a death curse. Whoa.
You're doomed.
So,
you're all doomed.
You're all doomed. So good. So she's hiding in there. And Mrs. Voorhees comes and you hear her like moving around the kitchen. You hear her start to move away. And then all of a sudden it's quiet and you hear her jiggling the doorknob, and it's locked because apparently this pantry locks from the inside.
Hey, whatever.
But okay. And Mrs. Voorhees chops through the door and Alice is like, oh my God, what am I going to do? She grabs a frying pan and just whacks her in the head with it.
Like Bugs Bunny or something, right?
And totally. Or like the Roadrunner.
Yeah, some worm.
And Wile E. Coyote, like the Roadrunner, like holds it out, and the coyote runs into it.
Some Looney Tunes, cartoon or something. Right.
Yeah, totally. So Alice whaps her with the frying pan. I think you see blood coming out of her head the back of her head at this point. So she is like, okay, this is over. And she goes to sit by the lake. But guys, it's not over.
No, it's not.
Mrs. Voorhees creeps up behind her and they fight again.
I'm telling you, they go all in.
The longest fight I have ever seen in a horror movie.
More than the fight between Freddy and Jason in Freddy versus Jason?
I have not seen Freddy versus Jason. So it is the longest fight I have seen in a horror movie.
Then you are correct there.
And it may well be the longest fight between two women in a horror movie.
There's a pretty good one in the movie Needful Things, but I'm way off topic. Anyway, go ahead.
Just so long.
It is long.
Anyways, the point is it's long.
But it's worth it at the end here.
Yes. So Mrs. V creeps up behind her again. They fight some more. Alice finally gets the knife and she goes and chops Mrs. Voorhees' head straight off, you guys. Great. It's a Bowie knife, so she can do that. It's not like a, I don't know, like a little steak knife or anything. Sure. It's a real knife.
She doesn't saw her head off. She slices her head off. Yes.
No, she slices it off in one blow.
It's pretty great.
Bone and all.
Gone.
Like sheared straight through.
Yep.
So she gets in one of the rowboats and she rows out to the middle of the lake.
Oh, one more thing I'll mention. Sorry, real quick. We like Tom Savini. So that scene right after her head gets cut off, you see the body reaching up,
looking for the head,
reaching up with the hands. Those are, I think, Savini's hands, I believe.
Are they?
I think so.
And they're like reaching for the head.
Well, I mean,
where there is no head.
That's a natural,
it's awesome.
Right, and that's a totally, because remember, don't forget, we're not going to sidetrack, but he was a combat photographer in Vietnam.
Yes.
And that's where he learned about anatomy and all these disgusting things. And so but he's right, that's a natural thing. If that happened to you, your hands would go to reach for your head because, like, you'd have that moment where your brain is severed, but there's still a connection somehow there for like a split second where your hand would do that. It's crazy. Yeah, the body's really odd. So anyway, yeah.
Okay, that's a lot creepier now that I know that that's real.
Yeah. From what I understand. So anyway, sorry.
So our girl Alice, she's out in the middle of the lake. It's all peaceful. The sun is coming up. The police show up at the edge of the lake. They're like waving at her. She leans over. She dips her hand in the water as she sits up. It's all
It's a great
peaceful.
shot. Yeah, the water's so calm and everything.
It's beautiful. Yeah. It's calm. It's peaceful. And guys, it's totally the end of the movie. Oh, no, it's not. Jason jumps up behind her and pulls her under.
So that's the thing. Something jumps up.
Well, something. Okay.
You have got to think about, well, I guess we'll get to it later. But okay, anyway, a person jumps up.
Yeah, a person. Sorry. I said Jason prematurely. We do not fully know it's Jason. It is a smallish person who is all grody looking like they've been under there for a long time. And then it's still not over, guys. This is not the Carrie's hand reaches out of the... There's more.
That was good.
But wait, there's more. Alice wakes up in the hospital.
That's right.
And the cops... have pulled her out of the lake, and so she did get out of the lake. They tell her they pulled her out of the lake, and she asks about Jason, and they're like, "Who?"
What happened
and she
to
says,
the boy, Jason?
Yeah, the boy who pulled me under the water.
And
they say, "We didn't find any boy."
Yeah,
and she says,
"We didn't find any boy."
Then he's still there.
Yeah.
And scene.
And scene. So, okay, yeah. So, I mean, the first thing that I will say about this is I have been lucky enough to watch that movie with a few people who have never seen it. And that, to me, that is my favorite movie to watch with someone who's never seen it. Because if you don't like scary movies, you're going to be like, this sucks. This is so boring. I don't care. But when you get to that scene and you know it's coming, and you watch people's reaction when Jason jumps up out of that water, it is priceless to see people's, oh my God, I love it. So that for me, I unfortunately haven't had, one of my friends years and years ago, she hit the ceiling, she jumped so high. But yeah, watching that with someone is so great. I love that part. That makes it so great.
So the first time I saw it was fairly recently, and I remember I knew about Jason Voorhees.
We'll talk about that too in a second. Yes.
Right. But so I thought, the killer is Jason Voorhees. I didn't know that in the first movie, the killer is not Jason Voorhees. Right. The killer is his mother. Exactly. And so I was like, wait, what? Okay. Like I was truly shocked, which was great. Because I knew about the series, but I didn't know who it was in the first one.
And that's what's so cool that I always try to school people on with, look, the Friday the 13th, just like Halloween, from what I'm pretty sure they're meant to be standalone movies. Friday the 13th is not supposed to go on and spawn as, if you would ask Sean Cunningham that you would have Jason Voorhees this day and age after that movie, he would have said, what are you talking about? That's what's great. The first movie is Jason is nothing but a story and a legend. And at the end, he's a little boy that jumps out of the water in someone's nightmare. It's his mother. She's going after revenge and killing everybody.
Is it a nightmare? Because they do find her in the lake.
Yeah, we don't know. We don't know. But it may be real. But it's its mother. It's Mrs. Voorhees who's getting revenge for her kid that was killed. So that's what people... Sometimes even I forget that because I'm so saturated with Hockey Mask Jason, who comes back from the dead, and at this point, I don't even know if he's a zombie or if he's a ghost or even what he is at this point. There's so many damn movies. But yeah, that's such a cool storyline that it is not him in the first movie. He's just this little terrifying moment at the end of the movie.
And apparently, she likes to say, Betsy Palmer, who played Mrs. Voorhees, likes to say, well, I don't know who this guy in the hockey mask is.
Right.
Jason Voorhees is my son. He's a little boy. He died when he was a little boy. Like, who's this? Right. Who's this creep in the hockey mask?
Yep. Yeah, the story for this is really well done. I like it. This is not an amazing movie. It's not done for a lot of money, but like you mentioned a couple really good scenes and things that were done very well, and some pacing that was done very well.
Which, it's funny. I think it's really well done, but that's another thing. Betsy Palmer apparently thought the script was crap when she read it, and she only decided to do it because she needed some money to buy a car.
Right.
And she figured it would just be like a flash in the pan and nobody would ever remember it. And now it's what she's really remembered for.
That is the thing about horror movie fans. We've mentioned it before. I've heard she's unfortunately passed on, but she mentioned how when she go to some of these conventions, she couldn't believe these people the love they gave her for some, what she thought, like you said, was some cheesy, junky movie. But it shows how much we love these movies. We come and we love these characters. We want to meet these people. You know, that she couldn't believe that stuff. She thought that was so great that people would love such a little tiny movie like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. No. Everything's well. I mean, there's a lot of stuff. Well, that was, for Tom Savini, that was his big deal. I mean, he did Dawn of the Dead, obviously, but he got to do so much in this movie. He's in all these landmark scary films. Yeah, it's not an amazing movie, but it is done. I think it's well done. For me, I mean, Friday the 13th is kind of a holiday for me, so I don't necessarily watch that. I'll try to pick one of the movies to watch on that day. But yeah, I was mentioning the kills, so everyone knows the whole series, everyone knows they have their favorite kill. Mine is when Jason kills someone in a sleeping bag. He bangs them against a tree, and I think it's in part 6 or maybe 7. That's my favorite.
Nice,
but they're definitely, the axe in the face in this one is pretty good. It's pretty good.
It is good.
Yeah.
It is definitely good.
Pretty good.
So let me see. What else should we talk about? Oh, should we talk about the location?
I can tell you a lot about that if you want me to.
So, well, I know that it was filmed at Camp Nobibosco in New Jersey.
So here's the lowdown with that, right? I urge anyone to go to crystallaketours.com. So this was done. Yeah, it's a working Boy Scout camp up in northern New Jersey. Okay, and for years it was always just a Boy Scout camp. It's off limits to the public. But recently, I can't tell you exactly when. I don't know what year, but I found out about this a couple of years ago. Crystal Lake Tours offers tours of the camp, of the actual camp, and you enter in a lottery, and if you win the tickets, you are then eligible to purchase them. Now, I got lucky last year, and I won the lottery on it, and I bought tickets for Friday the 13th, last September. Long story short, I had some terrible traffic problems, and I actually couldn't make it. I could not. I could barely get it.
So sad.
I could barely get to Baltimore in 3 hours, to be honest, and it was so, never mind. But go to the site, try to enter the raffle if you can get in. Basically, you get to go up there, you get to go to the camp, you get an all-day private tour. And you get to go to all the buildings they shot this movie in, the lake, the tower, all that stuff is there. All that stuff is totally real. It's like a 10-hour all-day tour. It's amazing.
I know which one thing isn't real.
What's that?
The bathroom set.
Okay.
The latrine is the only set that they had to build. It's the only set they had to build.
Okay. They probably had to do more. Yeah, that makes sense. So, yeah, you can go on an all-day tour. I'm hoping I get tickets again and I can go at some point. Blairstown, New Jersey. That is the small town where we have the opening of the film, where you see the date and Annie walks through and she sees the dog at the gas station and she goes into the restaurant. So I've driven up to Blairstown. I've eaten at the restaurant. The diner is, I have a receipt for it somewhere here. I can't remember it. If I remember the name of the diner, I had a patio melt there. So I've been to all the cool places. I've been driven to the Boy Scout camp. I just haven't gone in it because it is trespassing and I'm not going to break the law. But if you're up if you're up near, it's in northern part of Jersey, closer to the Pennsylvania border, I guess. From here, where you live, it's like, I don't know, 4 hours, 5 hours. But yeah, the cemetery is real. I went to the cemetery. It's all there. So yeah, if you ever want to do a Friday the 13th road trip tour, go for it. It's a lot of fun. I had a great time doing it.
That's awesome.
I think it's just Blairstown Diner, by the way.
Blairstown Diner.
Yeah, I think it's Blairstown Diner. I think it was in another.
That's easy enough.
I think it may have been in another movie though, also. So look it up, I guess.
Yeah, look it up. and let us know.
Yes,
let us know if you know.
Send us your photos. Send us your pictures of locations. Like we always talk about them. If you go to them, send us pictures of where you've been and stuff. We want to see.
So let me see. What other little tidbits did I find out? Oh, Sean S. Cunningham wanted to cast his son as Jason, but his wife was like, hell no.
Yeah, okay.
Not going to happen.
I don't know why. Nothing wrong with that. Well, whatever.
And most of the stars of the movie were actually theater kids. They were working on Broadway and stuff.
So I have met Adrienne King, who plays Alice.
Yes.
I met her.
Very cool.
Yeah, I met her years ago. She makes like her own wine now, and I think she's an artist. She's very talented. Yeah, she did part 2. I don't believe she did any scary movie stuff after that.
So I heard that what happened was she only had a small part in part 2 because she didn't want to have too much to do with it, and she didn't do cons for like 20 years.
I am not going to ruin
because somebody had threatened her life.
So I was going to gloss over it.
Oh, whoops.
No, well, that's all right. I mean, you know what?
I'm just saying she had a small part.
No. It's she has a very small part in part 2 at the beginning. I know we just ruined this movie, but I don't want to ruin the rest of the movies. But
not until we get to them.
She had a serious issue with a stalker, basically.
Yeah, she had a stalker. So she
was as nice as could be, though. I met her. She was super friendly. It was really cool.
Yeah, so it launched her and Kevin Bacon's careers.
Oh, absolutely.
So it really was pretty big for both of them.
Yep. And then, of course, we all know what happens with the sequels. They go on and on and on and on. And
there are so many of them.
I like part 3 because it's in 3D. And that's when Jason gets his mask, his hockey mask, by the way. That's the birth of that. So that's the birth of the actual Jason Voorhees you all know and love. There's a couple other... part 4 is decent. Jason X might be the worst movie ever made. I actually rented that movie when it came out, and I almost went back to I'm dating myself here, too. I almost went back to the video store and asked for my money back. I was like, this is the biggest piece of trash I've ever seen.
Wow.
I did not, but I wanted to. The remake is good for the first 15 minutes. I'd like to see the prequel idea that I've heard about, which explores young Jason and his father, who we never know about. No one's made it. And Freddy versus Jason, I mean, look, you can't make a movie that meets the expectations of something. You know what I'm saying? You can't actually meet those expectations. So, it's all right.
I don't know. I feel like it's going to be hard to follow up this one.
Yeah, I mean,
especially if you're following it up with Jason being the killer, it just doesn't fully make sense. You know?
Yeah, no, totally. I mean, like I said, this movie does its own is a great standalone, and it never needed to be redone. They cashed in. I mean, look, they cashed in, and Paramount made dump trucks of money off this series. So
I mean, I don't blame them.
It worked out.
Don't get me wrong. I do not blame them.
Yeah,
Oh, another thing I learned. Okay, Annie, Robbie Morgan was the actress's name, but the character of Annie, all the stuff that she was in, which doesn't seem like a lot, I know, but for shooting it's quite a bit. She only shot for one day.
That sounds right. Yeah.
No, that sounds like a lot to do in one day. Because think about it. She did walking down the street. Well, she did go into the gas station. She did going into the diner. She did.
I think that's all doable in a day.
The whole interaction with him. She did the driving. She did the getting killed.
Especially if you got some of those scenes where if you don't have a lot of money, and if you're just trying to do a couple of those are just establishing where she's walking, where I know there's details in that, but she's really not doing much.
Yeah, but I feel like on a big film, that would be like 3 to 5 days.
I don't know. It depends. Yeah, what
maybe 3.
And depends what your director wants to do.
So there is, I think Siskel and Ebert both sort of said, "Oh, this movie was really
don't listen to
misogynist."
That's all they talk about.
And
these filmmakers hate women, and so they make these movies. Whatever, dude.
I'll pull out my as a woman. I disagree. I think, you know, the women in this are pretty strong and badass. Yes. I mean, they're the first person who goes to try and save the kid's life when he's out supposedly drowning in the lake is one of the girls.
That's right.
Alice is a full-on badass. Oh, yeah. I mean, she makes a couple dumb decisions, but you know, she has to for the movie to work.
She knows what she's doing.
But she's busting ass. Yep. And the killer is a woman. Yep. Which is unusual. So it's a woman killing everybody. As many dudes get killed as women do. Yeah. So you know what? I don't know. I feel like that's kind of reductivist.
Well, they don't know what they're talking about. I don't really put much stock into what those reviews of, you know, let's be honest, when is one of these clowns give a good review to a scary film? So forget it, you know? Don't
fair point. But yeah, I had seen that about like, oh, people thinking that it was
and these reviewers, they say the same thing about they spew the same thing about every scary movie. So
right. If a woman gets killed or if there's any kind of sexual activity in the movie,
anything.
Then right. And it's a horror film. It has to be a horror film and these things happen, then it's a piece of trash and it's misogynist. Yep. I don't think that's true.
No, it's not true.
You know I'm sure that there are some that are, but I don't think this is one of them.
Slumber Party Massacre probably. But
and then apparently, you know, there's the whole sinners must be punished thing like we talked about with
right.
We talked about this with Halloween, right?
That's always a theme in those movies.
That there's do they get killed because they're having sex? But they're not. It's just because they're distracted. And that's what Cunningham said about this. He said, it's not, you know, sinners must be punished. It's he sees it as bad things are happening to good people for no reason. Well, and that's scary.
And of course, it's I mean, the mother is trying. She's out for revenge. She's going to kill everybody. So
right.
Even having sex, that's got even nothing to do with it. Yeah.
Right. She's going to kill them either way. If she was only killing them to punish them for having sex, she wouldn't have killed Annie.
Yep.
Because Annie's like the like sweet, innocent, like, I'm just going to cook for the kids because when you love kids, you'll do anything.
Right. She's so perky and excited. I know.
She's like so sweet and innocent. And if you're going to kill her, then you're definitely not killing people for having sex and for being
and I don't know how
full
much
of sin.
I don't know how much of that is true. That's, you know, they say it about every film, but I don't know if it's really the honest truth about it. So who knows?
Yeah, I don't see. I see less of the you're getting killed because you're having sex in this than I did in Halloween. Even
for sure.
Like
and that those are all, you know, critics and reviewers' points. Those are not necessarily filmmakers' points, and I'm gonna side more with, you know, some things you don't even think about. You just kind of make them. You may not be conscious about why you're doing that, but it could be. But I'm gonna side more with the person that made the movie. So it's all good. I mean, I love the idea. I like to have different perspectives to look at a movie and think of it in different ways, though.
Okay, so last thing, let's do something fun here.
Mm-hmm.
Who would you be in this movie? Which character would you be?
Oh, I'm definitely the dude that the dumbass guy that dresses up like the what's his name?
Like
Ned?
the Indian?
Ned, is that
Ned? You're Ned?
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, I see that. You're Joker Ned. I see that.
Definitely.
I see that. I think that
I'd like to be Crazy Ralph, though.
You will be. You're moving towards it swiftly.
I just
Don't
need like
worry.
40 more years and I can be Crazy Ralph.
Yeah, you're getting there.
Sweet.
You're moving towards it.
Good.
I think that I am probably Annie.
Okay.
I was always a goody two shoes as a teenager. I think I was Annie.
You didn't even get to so you wouldn't even make it to the camp. Okay.
Yeah, I think I was Annie.
All right, yeah, that's fine. I never really think about that yet, comparing yourself who you'd be.
And you're not like, no, you would be such an Alice. You're such a badass. No, he's just like, yeah, okay.
No, I see it. It works for me.
I think I'm the sweet, innocent girl who doesn't even make it to camp.
Nope, an untimely end.
Yeah, I think that's who I am.
That's funny.
I just thought that would be fun to do. Who are we?
Yeah, that is good. I like that. I never think much about that when I watch a movie.
Yeah, we should keep doing that. Who would you be in the movie?
Sure.
I think we should keep doing that. That would be fun. All right. So do we have anything else we have to tell people about this movie?
No, I think we told them go.
I think we covered a whole lot.
Watch it, obviously. Go drive to Jersey and go to the website and go take the tour. And yeah, great movie.
Totally. Yeah, I want to do that now too.
Watch all the sequels. You can still. I mean, like I said, Jason X is terrible. Oh, and of course, Jason Takes Manhattan is pretty awful too.
Oh God, Jason Takes Manhattan. That sounds like the Muppets Take Manhattan. Come on.
It's just as bad, I'm afraid.
Hey, the Muppets Take Manhattan was probably better, I'm going to guess.
Maybe, but this movie is pretty bad. It's pretty bad.
Lord.
Yeah.
Lordy.
Oh, and write down your, of course, watch them all and then come up with your favorite death as well.
Oh, yeah. And watch Google all the Friday the 13th.
All right, YouTube, all the deaths. There
on
you go.
YouTube, yeah, you got to see it on YouTube. That sounds awesome.
Sleeping Bag Death. It's the best one.
I cannot wait to see it.
No, you
as we work our way through all these movies, or as I YouTube and watch every
or
death
just do that
all at once.
It'd be a lot easier and a lot faster.
I figure we'll get through the movies eventually.
We might.
But yeah, I will probably watch the YouTube too. If we're being real, I'll probably
celebrate Friday the 13th when it comes.
Yes, celebrate it. It's almost here, you guys.
Put it on your calendar and embrace it. Don't forget about it.
Don't make it be a sad and unloved day.
You know what?
It has always been it has always been a really good day for me. You know what day has always been crappy for me? Saturday the 14th.
That's interesting.
I always had a good day on Friday the 13th growing up, and I always had a crap day on Saturday the 14th. You know what?
That's like a compromise. You had a good day on the day that everyone thinks is bad, but you had a good day. But the script flipped on you. That's okay. You got to compromise. So
I always liked Friday the 13th.
Most people, though, I think it's not even so much they're afraid of it. I think most people don't even recognize it. Like, I have seen people on that day, and I'm always in a good mood, and I'm like, happy Friday the 13th, and they say, huh, what? Like,
they don't even think about it.
Did you read a calendar today? Do you even know a day? Are you aware of dates? Like, do you follow the calendar? You know, like you came to work, you knew it was Friday. I mean, people just don't seem to pay attention. So I don't know. But yeah.
No.
Pay attention.
Most people, I think, don't pay much attention.
I don't think they do.
So yes, honor the day, guys. It's a good day.
Please.
Before we go, while you're honoring Friday the 13th, do us a Friday the 13th. Give us a Friday the 13th gift by rating and reviewing us on iTunes or wherever the heck you're listening, so that more people can find us and have fun with us like you do. And don't forget, send us your movie suggestions, your thoughts on the movies you've watched so far. Really, whatever you want to tell us at thescarymovieproject@gmail.com.
Send us your places that you've been to that have scary movie locations. We want to see them.
Yes. Ooh, yeah. We want to see them and hear about them. Yes. That's so cool. Yeah. What did a scary movie film in your neck of the woods? Let us know. We want to know about that. So cool. All right, guys. Ciao.
All right. Seacrest out.
The Scary Movie Project podcast is produced by Tara Garwood and Matt Lolich. Learn more at thescarymovieproject.com.